Welcome to Musing My Religion, a podcast based at Northwest Catholic High School. I'm Father Michael Dolan, president of the high school, and we're joined today by Sister Helen Kieran, a Dominican sister. The Dominican Sisters staffed Northwest Catholic when it first opened, so we're very happy to have Sister here today. She's very accomplished. She's a native of Manhattan. Which street, Sister?
101st Street.
There we go, that's that street. She went into Middlebury College for studies in language. She's been in Latin America, was stationed for many years in Rome and Vatican City for Vatican Radio. She was a star of television for the Archdiocese in New York with a contemporary Catholic program that ran for how many years was that on?
Well, it started before I went there, so I would say maybe about 4 years.
Okay, that sounds good. And Sister's now retired after a long stint at Albertus Magnus College as a campus minister. Sister, so happy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Now, you're in Peekskill now, correct?
I am.
Okay, it's wonderful. So you grew up in, what was your parish in Manhattan?
Holy Name, and it was at 96th Street and Amsterdam Avenue.
How many brothers and sisters?
I had 3 brothers and my sister.
Wonderful. And why did you choose the Dominican Sisters to join?
Well, because I went to Dominican Academy, run by the Dominican Sisters. And one time I can remember, we had tradition at Dominican Academy that when you were going down to the cafeteria, the tradition is that you may stop in chapel and say a prayer. But we couldn't do that because we had a terrible fire in the chapel. So I had to, when I got off the subway going home, I would stop at my parish church. And I can remember the time I was saying a prayer or something, and this thought came in about being a Dominican sister. I kind of went, what? No way. And I went on my merry way. And then, as a sophomore, then as a junior, it became much more clear.
Sure.
And then senior year, I knew that's what I thought I should do.
Wonderful.
I wanted to do. And echo, here I am.
Where did you go to novitiate?
The novitiate of the Dominican Sisters at that time was in Columbus, Ohio. Because we had schools all over the United States, and then we went to Peru, and then we went to Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay. Now, where was your first teaching assignment?
My first teaching assignment was in Columbus, Ohio, at St. Thomas.
What grade?
I had 3rd grade.
3rd grade. Oh, how did that go?
That went wonderful. We did, it's the first time you became so aware of teaching, and I didn't realize even that. No, I did realize then. I love teaching.
At what point did you move on for graduate studies?
I went on to graduate studies when I realized I had a gift for languages. I really never knew that. I would always I can imitate almost anybody. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's what I'll be doing. Well, hardly was that the only thing I was be doing. And I really liked it, and I went on for it, and I got my graduate degree in Spanish.
Middlebury?
At Middlebury College in the summer.
Was that strict?
Yes.
Worse than the novitiate?
The novitiate was in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. So you did an immersion course where then in Peru?
No, I just sat and I just was with the people, and you can hear it.
Sure.
And that's a really good. If you can get away with it, it's a good way to learn. Because you're corrected immediately.
I see.
It was good, and at that point, English was starting to come in as the international language slowly, but they had to go because before that was French.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, passing of French, au revoir, and then getting into the English.
And now, how did you make the journey from the United States to Peru?
Very well, not difficult, because you knew it was going to be exciting,
mm-hmm.
and you knew that obviously I don't look too Peruvian.
Not really.
Not really, and it was and just who you are, and they saw that I was friendly, I was helpful, I could help them, and then you got into more friendships.
So how did the students change from when you first started? What year did you start teaching?
1961.
Okay.
No, 1962.
Okay. And how did they change over the years?
It's kind of difficult to explain because technology had not come in yet.
Okay.
So we were still working, but it did come in, and you saw the excitement of young people.
Mhm.
But the thing that really bothered you was they could work all these instruments, and you're looking and saying, how did they do that? And they all could work on the computer. They felt so comfortable with it, which made adults feel pretty good about it too.
True.
You know, if you could do that. And then it got better and better, and then you had more interaction with them, and they would stay after school. They couldn't afford. Our place in Peru was quite poor, so they couldn't afford a computer.
Mhm.
So you give them yours, and they were thrilled, you know. And then you had a printer. Oh my gosh, I have a printer, and look at what I can do. So they loved, and so they grew too in that sense.
Mhm.
And I should say that that type of thing, all the technology, did not frighten them. They welcomed it.
Mhm.
They wanted to know more and more and more. So it was really something else.
So you've taught everybody from grade 3 up through.
I went to grammar school, high school, and college. I did some college teaching. So
And what were you teaching in college?
I was teaching. Well, that's a question. In college, I did some Spanish teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Literature or just introductory?
Yeah, we did different stuff. We did poetry and that type of thing because I liked South American short story, so I did South American short story a lot.
And your favorite author in Spanish would be?
Gabriela García Márquez.
Of course.
Of course.
100 años de soledad.
Sí, exactamente. Usted habla español, ¿verdad, padre?
Ahí poco.
Un poquito mejor que nada.
Exactamente.
Okay.
When you made the journey over to Europe, how was it to work at Vatican Radio? I take it you did the morning drive show, or?
No. What I did was I had to ask what they wanted, and and so when they told me what they wanted, I feel I could do it. I had to find my guests, and then I had to produce the show. I had to write it, and then I broadcast it.
So who were your guests?
Oh, I would have, let's say, the Irish premier came.
Oh.
If I could get her or him,
Yeah, sure.
or that. Maybe some of the bishops from the United States that were really good. The guy from California was wonderful.
Okay.
And then some of the seminarians.
Uh-huh.
So you had a variety, and you had kids.
Oh.
And you know, kids, they know everything.
They certainly do.
Oh, you get the
Work with 600 of them. So.
So yeah, but it was amazing. They would do what you tell them to do. You know, they were good, and then they could listen to it at home. When
Sure.
they had. But it was like I said, I was teaching full time in high school.
Oh.
So that I always say to somebody, I would run to the subway station, get off at Grand Central, run over to the news building, go up to about the 30th floor, go in for makeup, and then right out to the set. They'd do it, and then right back to the high school, because I had class.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, but it was fun. You know, it was fun. It was difficult at times, but it was. I took a risk and I loved it.
Okay.
And I was told I was good at it, so that was nice to hear too.
Oh, there we go. You seem very comfortable with the podcasting setup.
Oh yeah, this doesn't bother me at all. I don't get, as they'd say in New York, I don't get nervous.
When you were in Europe, what was your living condition? Did you have a convent?
No, we did a convent.
Yeah.
We didn't have one.
Really?
So I had my first time when I was there. I was working in another project,
Mm-hmm.
and this lady had an apartment, an American, Australian,
Mhm.
but she was going to marry an American, and they were going to live in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So she had this apartment free. I mean, I paid my rent and all that. It was delightful,
Mhm.
and I could walk to the radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where is that located?
On right down from St. Peter's. It's on the last sidewalk there, and you'd make a left or a right wherever you go, and that's where Vatican Radio was. And there were 26 programs.
Really?
Hmm.
And how were your Arbitron ratings for that? Very high?
It's hard to know. They didn't have somebody like.
Oh, I see.
They didn't have any of that. You would just wait till people would write in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You would write in.
Oh, that's good.
And they would say thank you or whatever.
Was it pre-internet?
That I can't answer
Yeah.
because I don't remember.
Now, did you have was it live or recorded?
Oh, it was taped.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because you could edit it afterwards for.
I never did.
You never really?
Nope.
Wow, live, uncut. That's terrific.
It was good. You don't. Nobody gives you feedback. Then one day I was going down. I was going to leave, and I was going out, and this guy was fooling around with the plants on the set.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he was doing. I'm from New York. What's with the plants?
Yeah.
So to make a long story short, he looked at me. I always say hello. I said hello. He said hello. He says, you're very good. I said thank you. I said, who's he? I said the director.
Oh.
So that was nice to hear because other than that you would never hear because then you're gone. Somebody else's.
Sure.
But the whole thing was they wanted to change and how the gospel was being delivered.
Oh, okay.
All right. And so they had a couple of groups ahead of me that were, I didn't know them. I'd never heard any of it.
Sure.
But they weren't doing that, and it was hard. And their English was poor.
Oh.
And you have to speak well.
Yes.
Because this is going to every English-speaking country in the world.
Oh.
So it was a learning experience, and it was really, really wonderful.
Well, today's the Feast of St. Albertus Magnus, where we met. Sister
Yes.
was campus minister there. I was the coordinator of campus ministry. I was her boss, and so she told me what to do. But how does your Dominican charism inform your ministry? Because you've had a variety of ministries over your many years. How many years of religious life now?
62.
Okay, that's a career.
It certainly is.
How is it informed? Like, who's the inspiration for you among your?
Well, I think they knew that I could take risks and I wasn't afraid. Because some of my confreres in the order say, I could never do what you do. Which is a nice thing in a sense, and I want to say that's right, you couldn't, but I wouldn't.
You're so modest.
Oh, never been accused.
Yeah.
Okay, but the whole idea is that you saw it and you knew you could do it with help. I just didn't go in and say I know everything.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, and how would you do this, and so on and so forth. And so you had some wonderful people to help you if you needed it.
What type of training did you receive?
Me?
Yes.
None.
Oh, okay. No, that's very punny.
No, you did it, and I had done I was used to doing the thing in New York,
Mm-hmm.
that show,
Yes.
and then I went to the Vatican Radio, and that it was more or less the same, but you had to know your topic.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the Gospels,
Sure.
and so if I needed any help in getting another view of the Gospel, I would find somebody who could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who was articulate enough to tell
Mm-hmm.
me, right? And then weave it in and use the person who was there, their expertise and what they think. And so I had moms, American mothers who were there in Rome.
Yeah.
And I had kids who were there. So I had the whole thing. I was the first one to do that.
I asked one of my children in the third grade,
Mm-hmm.
It's cafeteria, and I just walk around and say, "How are you? What's
Yeah,
going on?"
yeah.
They'll break right
Yeah.
into a story.
Oh,
And I said to him, "How was your summer?" He says, "Terrible." I said, "Why was it terrible?" He goes, "I have a little brother. He cries all night. We can't sleep. He finally falls asleep at 7 a.m. I think he's a vampire." So thank you. Enjoy your lunch. And I kept moving. No longer. We did a summer enrichment program for the children,
Mm-hmm.
grade, I think it was second grade up through eighth grade.
Mm-hmm.
And we would take them to the park. And the number of kids that hadn't been to the park ever, they were elated. They were on, now it's monkey bars, they're illegal now,
Yeah.
but they had all these playscapes. And we were trying to be very creative, and they were just thrilled to be in a
Mm-hmm.
park. They would stay there for 3 or 4 hours and come away exhausted. The parents are very appreciative
Mm-hmm.
because the parents were the working poor.
That's right.
And it was great outreach by the church to take care of these wonderful kids. And the teachers were magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
They really just brilliant.
And the whole thing is their salary was much, much lower.
Oh, yes.
So, but they did it.
Oh, sure they did. Yeah. Well, now, when you went through, how many sisters did you enter with?
About 20.
Okay. And how many are still with us?
Well, so many have died.
Yeah.
3.
Three. Okay. All right.
3 now.
And what did they do? Your bandmates?
Oh, we never use that word.
Oh, what did you use? I have
We-
the wrong
crowd.
order. Your crowd. Yeah.
Because
Very.
our community was all American.
Oh, okay.
We started in Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah, and then we moved up because the bishop in Columbus needed people teaching. So that's how we got to Columbus.
Okay. And you're now with the Dominican Sisters of Bridgeport, correct?
Right,
Right,
and Bishop
okay.
Caggiano is
Yeah.
the bishop of that diocese.
Another New Yorker.
From Brooklyn.
Oh.
Yo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know he's from Brooklyn, let me tell you. You know that.
He told a story about his grandmother. Said, my grandson, he's the Bishop of Brooklyn.
Oh, God. Well, he was the one who told me. He came up to our parish once and he said, I said, how's Brooklyn? It was something. Oh, he said, Brooklyn's fine. I said, well, you know that I'm from Manhattan. He said, I'm sorry for your loss. He always used to get me on that. But, yeah, because I taught at the seminary, too.
Oh, true.
Oh,
What? Talk about that, sister.
Well, they had a lot of foreign students.
Mm-hmm.
They spoke English well, but sometimes the accent would get too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm not here to tell you to get rid of your accent. That's part of your culture and your heritage.
Mm-hmm.
How about if we cut it off just a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
And I worked like that, and they did very well. They would say like the word Give.
Mm-hmm.
Give. No, it's give. And now you think it's such an easy word, which it is, but they all said give. But after a while, they got it, and then that we want to write. No, I said writing is the last thing you do. Let's go back. We did a lot of speaking, and then they'd have to see if something was happening in the world. What do you think about this?
Okay.
Yes. So I had a lot. I saw them individually.
Okay.
Individually, not in a group. The group thing for me does not work because you really don't. He or she does exactly what you say. They're not doing their own.
Oh.
But see, and if you go with a book, you're dead.
Oh.
So I never did that. I just did it completely different. I take colors and just say, what do you think about this color? Tell me why you like the color. And then they knew they had to say, I like this color red. And they'd have to put it in a sentence. It's just as easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I always made it challenging for them, not baby stuff,
Mm-hmm.
challenging. And they enjoyed it.
I live with a number of foreign-born priests who are really marvelous guys, and it's interesting, if they had trouble with their native tongue, they're going to have more trouble with the foreign tongue.
Mm-hmm.
We had one young man who had a speech impediment, and we addressed that, and that improved both his native tongue and his adopted language. But we have some misunderstandings, which are quite comical at times. One said to me, he thought our deacon was awfully tall. He says, I feel like David and Goliath. I said,
Goliath. Yeah.
right, gotcha.
Right.
But there, it's part of it is it can be charming.
Yeah.
I said play because people are fascinated by it. It's a lyrical accent is beautiful. The guys that came through with a Slavic accent, people to the American ear, it doesn't sound charming.
No.
It falls very harsh on the
Because
ear.
Eastern Europe is different. Their
Yeah.
whole setup is really different.
Yeah.
And I do okay, but I have to ask what they're saying.
Mm.
And so they do and I was fine after I got most of it.
Sure.
Yeah, but you just have to. In my case, all I have to do is hear it. Because when I went to China with the kids at St. Vincent Ferrer High School in the city, it wasn't hard to pick up Chinese because it was tonal.
Thank you for being here with Musing My Religion here at Northwest Catholic High School. It's been great to have you speak to the class. You're going to speak to another class this afternoon, and also speak to our teachers that are beginning a broadcasting club for the children, the young teens here to perhaps explore a career, but certainly gain the skills that whenever they have a microphone or a camera in their face, they'll know what to do and be relaxed. And
well, thank you so
that's
much
what
for the opportunity. It's been wonderful. Sort
Thank
of
you.
going back a little bit, and again, and fond memories, of the people you meet, and and never thought you'd meet them.
Tell me about it.
And thank you so
Sister,
much.
so good. God bless. This is the President of Northwest Catholic, Father Michael Dolan. Thank you for listening to Musing My Religion. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Look forward to more episodes in the near future. Take care. God bless.